we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about masculinity as a whole and what actually makes a high value man, because I get asked this question all the time. And I also notice there's a whole bunch of red pill creators and people on the internet, and there's a whole bunch of dorks who are popping up.
They get it wrong.
Who get it completely wrong. And they talk about money, or they do a bunch of drugs and run their mouth, and they're a bunch of clowns. So we're going to make it very clear what a man is and what a man should be. And we're going to explain it in an extremely concise, compendious, detailed way. And I guarantee you what we're going to do is provide you a blueprint to be the most successful version of yourself and genuinely be able to live a life worth living and make an impact on the universe, not only to your family and the immediate people who are close to you, but the universe as a whole. I'm going to explain to you some very important concepts. Some of them will be nuanced and difficult. Some of them will be very simple, but we're not just going to sit and do the normal thing. We say, high value man, get in good shape, get some money. We're not going to talk about the things. We're going to talk about all the nuanced small points that makes a man respected by his peers and respected by women. In depth. So we would like you to get a pen and paper and take notes and pay attention and raid.
So first, you want to talk about why so many people get what a high value man is wrong. Because I want to make this very clear. I get sent clips all the time of influencers, red pill dudes, blah, blah, blah. And because I don't talk to any of them, a lot of them seem to not like me. But I just want to make something very clear before we start. I don't know who these people are. I go through my whole life not knowing who these people are. They're insignificant. They're unimportant. They're not worth listening to. And then what happens is someone sends me a clip and there'll be some dork sitting there be like, yeah, me and the Tates really don't get along because don't get along. I don't fucking know you. I don't know where the ego comes from in these people, but they're wrong about almost everything that I see them speak on. And obviously they don't like me. They're wrong about everything because how can you not like me? And how can you not think I'm a positive force for the world? So I don't know who most of these geeks are that you're talking about, Andrew. But I certainly don't watch their content. I certainly don't watch their podcast.
Neither do I. I just want to clarify once and for all what our beliefs are, what we believe a high-value man is, and how a man should live his life in a detailed way. Because on podcasts, I usually give a very short answer because I don't have unlimited time. But here on an emergency meeting, we have unlimited time. And that's why we're going to give a very in-depth answer. And we're going to give people a framework they can live by. We already have the tenets, which you can see on CarberTate.com, the 41 tenets of life. And if you live by those tenets, then you stand a very good chance of being an extremely capable and successful man. However, we're going to give a lot more detail on what I believe the problems with masculinity are today, and how to be the best version of yourself, and how to be a prime male in the modern world, and to live a life worth living and make an impact on the universe. So that's what we're going to do.
Because it's hard in 2023.
It's absolutely not really hard, and it's going to get harder and harder. It's certainly not going to get easier. While we do that, we're going to keep an eye out for the Matrix agent because he must be assassinated.
Yeah, I know.
Right. We begin. Many young men are under the impression that manhood is elevating themselves with their mouths void of anything behind it. And you couldn't be more wrong. They confuse the idea of peacocking, which is, I believe, is quite a masculine trait. People think that if you're truly secure, you don't want a nice car, you don't want a fancy watch. I disagree. I think since the beginning of human time, men have always peacocked. We've always shown our value with material things. It doesn't matter if we went to war and killed the enemy and took a feather from the enemy and put it in our hat. Doesn't matter if we chopped our enemy's heads off. Doesn't matter if we took a piece of gold and wore it around our neck that we stole from some village we raided. We've always been peacocking to a degree. We've always been showing the world that we're valuable and that we're successful and that we've done something important. And peacocking is very important. But men have got this confused and they think that they can just use their mouths to elevate themselves without any genuine substance behind it. And that's one of the largest mistakes, because that shows, one, insecurity, and two, when you're genuinely tested, and God will make sure that you are, you're going to fail. So it's very important you're not the kind of person who thinks, I understand I need to elevate myself as a man. I understand I need to be high status. I understand I need to be respected. I'm going to do that with a big mouth and no genuine capability to back that up. That's one of the biggest mistakes. In fact, it's extremely feminine.
And God's going to test you if you keep running your mouth.
God's going to test you. I really believe the reason we went to jail is because we became the most famous men in the world for our mental fortitude. And if you're going to be called the top G, and we're going to be the Tate brothers, and we're going to be known for our mental fortitude, God is going to test our mental fortitude by throwing us in a Romanian dungeon surrounded with cockroaches. There's no way you can become the top G of the planet. There's no way you can become the most famous brothers on earth and be respected for your mental fortitude and all the things you teach, and God not test you.
Because there are people out in the world who preach mental fortitude, etc., who break down whenever anything difficult happens to them.
Absolutely. And God is always watching. So it's very important you're not just somebody with a big mouth. You have to have some genuine things to back it up. Substance. And I feel like a lot of you didn't have a present father or a strong father figure to emulate, so you have no frame of reference for masculinity. So you see these idiots with a big mouth online, you think having a big mouth is going to be enough, and it's not enough for God. It's not enough for the reality of the world, because if you walk around with a big enough mouth, eventually you're going to get checked, you can get the shit kicked out of you. Yep. And it's also not enough for females. You need to understand that if you convince a woman you're high value with your mouth and your mouth alone, sooner or later she's going to realize you are a liar. And that is when she's going to leave you. So if you're sitting at home thinking, well, I had this girl, she thought I was the man. A few months later, she's not that interested in me. Yeah, because she got to know you better. She saw behind the bravado, and she saw that you don't really have any genuine real world achievements. You haven't really done anything that's super interesting. You have to do things that make men respect you for women to respect you. And usually those things require a degree of bravery. Men have always been respected for our bravery. We did the brave thing, and it is the brave thing on the other side of fear, which is going to build your character and build your internal self-belief, but it's also going to build a magic inside of you that a woman can see when she looks inside of your eyes. It's also going to build a magic inside of you that people can see when they look in your eyes. When people look in my eyes, they know I've been brave, and they know I'll be brave again, and they don't want to test my bravery because they know it exists, and they know it's been tested, they know it is real. So this is very important. People confuse this and say, oh yeah, confident men don't talk, confident men don't brag. And they're saying that because a lot of people who are bragging have nothing to back it up. Once again, I slightly disagree. If you have enough to back it up, you are allowed to brag. But you have to make sure there are real world achievements and you're not living in any kind of delusion. Absolutely everything as a man is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to become your best and brightest version of yourself. And you're not going to do that simply by talking it into existence. You need to live it into existence. You need to go out there and do things which are genuinely difficult, genuinely stressful, which are genuinely scary, so you can become the man you want to be. So you have to take responsibility for these things, and you have to seek them and choose and find the correct difficulties for you to overcome so you can build a character worth having. It's the information that you absorb and what you do with it that will ultimately mold and shape who you want to become. So every single one of you who is watching this, you're in the right place at the right time. We're going to give you some very important information today. I hope you implement it and you use it to the best version of yourself. But it's also very important that you create the world you live in. You create your reality. You create the information you absorb, and you're not sitting there absorbing garbage from loudmouth idiots or matrix programming that's designed to keep you inside of the slave mind. You have to be very careful with the things you consume. So I want you to think at home, before we read the super chats, which we're about to do, I want you to think, besides your loud mouth, what do you have that make people know you're truly a man? What do you have? I can name some things, right? People walk in my house, they can see, okay, I'm financially successful. They look at my body, they know I'm motivated, disciplined, I'm extremely strong. They look at my world title belts, they know I can fight. They look at the woman on my arm, they know that I am worthy of respect because she treats me with absolute respect. They look at my network, they see that men treat me with absolute respect. I don't have to open my mouth and people can instantly look at me and go, okay, he has X, Y, and Z. If you couldn't talk, you put on a t-shirt, you put on some jeans, and you can't talk, and you're walking around the world. When people look at you, why do they see you as a high value man? Do you have anything you project? Do you project true bravery? Do you project true confidence? Or do you need to talk to try and convince people of these things? They say confidence is quiet. It can also be very loud, but you don't want to live in a delusion. That's the first thing. So I want every single person here who's actually taking notes to think, if I can't talk, how am I judged? If I can't speak, what do people think of me? How am I projecting my value to the world if I can't say a word? That's the most important thing. Let's read the super chats before we continue.
Yeah, Zorik said, shout out from the War Room, Conquer the Earth gentleman, $200 super chat. Top G Commandants, $500 super chat, said, I'm a student from the Content Creation Artificial Intelligence campus in Hustlers University. I ask, what should you do to separate yourself from the competition and stand out from others that are making content?
Perfect. You're in exactly the right place at the right time. We're going to talk about exactly that, because a lot of people who are making content, because you speak into a microphone, think that speaking is enough. The reason we have such a strong brand is not just because we speak, it's because we are talking about a life we have lived, experiences which have happened, things we have done, and things we are capable of doing. We genuinely are saving the world, donating $25 million a year. Nobody else can say that. Nobody else has the capability to do it, or the heart, or the gumption, or the balls, or even the capability to organize feeding people in a war-torn country. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to even feed people in Iran? Yeah. Think about the logistics of it.
To avoid scammers and people on the ground who want to take your money and not do anything useful with it.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to do these things.
You need a network.
You need a network, and you need
to be respected and you need to be trusted, essentially, and you need to trust others, but you need people who you can trust, and me and Andrew have that.
Absolutely. So you're talking about how do you make content that makes you stand out? Well, if you stand out as a man, then your content will stand out because you'll have exactly the right things to say, and you'll be trusted and believed because people will see in your eyes and know that you're more than just a loud mouth. So I want everybody here who's watching this, I consider this a matter of social responsibility. I want you to pull up a chair and eliminate all the distractions because I'm going to speak to each and every one of you as if you were my son or a student or someone I'm trying to mentor. I'm going to imagine that all of you know nothing, and we're talking from the complete ground up how to become the best versions of yourself. Because manhood is exceptionally hard and life is hard, but how you shape yourself will determine how hard it is for you and how miserable it will be. I've said this many times in many different iterations on different podcasts, but I want to repeat it again. As a man, there is no easy life. If you're looking for an easy life, you should have been a girl. You made a mistake. Yep. Your life is not about being easy. Your life is not about being happy. Your life is always going to be difficult. All of the pain you feel, all of the sadness you feel, you're supposed to feel as a man, and you have two effective binary choices. You either go through the suffering and go through the trauma and go through the hardship it takes to be a man of value, or you suffer eternity as a nobody. And being invisible, I would argue, is almost worse. You can have a very stress-free life if you work in Starbucks. You don't care about the Starbucks once you clock off. You're not at work at the time. You go home, you play video games, and you exist until you die. That's stress-free, but you have to suffer being a nobody. Alternatively, you can go out there into the world, try and implement your mark on the world, work hard, try to get rich, more money, more problems. You can try and start a business, the stress of that. You can lose your girlfriend because all you're doing is working. This is a new level of stress, a new level of trauma, but at least you'll be a somebody at the end of it. There's two ways to suffer. You either suffer to become a somebody, or you suffer as a perpetual and forever nobody. What did Napoleon say?
He said, glory is fleeting, but obscurity is forever.
Absolutely. Glory is fleeting, but obscurity is forever. And when he says fleeting, that's a really good point because everything in life is rented, especially your glory as a man. When you have a good body, it is not a good body as complete. It's not finished. You haven't completed the task. You have rented that good physical condition. You must train every day to retain it.
We're going to keep talking as normal. We're aware of the DDoS attack, and we're aware that new people can't join. However, for the 60 or 70,000 of you who are in the chat right now, good, you are seeing us, and we will continue this, and we will you'll be able to watch this in retrospect once it's uploaded. So we're aware of the DDoS attack. It's being worked on.
Absolutely. So everything is rented. Your body, you don't just get a good body and you're done. You still have to go to the gym every day to maintain that good body. You don't just get a hot girl and it's done. You still have to work hard for her to always love you and respect you. You don't just start a business and now you're rich. No, you have to start a business and work on that business every day. If you take your eye off the business, it will fail. Everything in life is rented. So when he says glory is fleeting, he's also absolutely not correct, because glory is fleeting and you have to constantly and endlessly work for it and make sure that you never stop. Otherwise, it will be taken from you. But obscurity is forever. If you never make a mark on the world, then you effectively never existed.
Yeah.
And when you're gone, nobody will care. The reason our Father is discussed at length is because of who me and Tristan are. And the reason we will be discussed forever is because who our sons will become. And that's very important because you have a duty to your ancestors and you have a duty to God. So you must make a choice. And this is genuine choice for you people at home. Do you want to live in obscurity forever and be invisible and not matter and have an easier life? I would argue that it's not easier, because in your heart and in your soul, you're going to feel guilty knowing you could have been something you're not, and you have a duty to your ancestors and to God to be the best version of yourself. Or do you want to try your absolute best and struggle and suffer every day of your life, paying the rent for all of the amazing things around you? We pay endless rent. We pay rent for our bodies. We pay rent for our relationships. We pay rent to keep our kids. We pay rent to keep our business. We pay rent to keep our freedom. Every single day is work to pay the rent. It's absolutely never ending, and you have to make that choice. So if you have a pen and paper in front of you, you need to decide, do you want to be invisible with a lower rent bill, or do you want to be important and work hard and suffer to make sure that the rent is paid? It's a choice you must make, and it's binary, and you must be extremely dedicated towards the decision you finally make. As Tristan said, we understand there's a big DDoS attack right now. We're going to wait for that. What super chats do we have?
None. I can't. We can't access super chats right now. DDoS attack. Matrix attack.
Is it that mosquito?
Is it the mosquito? It might be the mosquito.
I think it's the mosquito. If we kill the mosquito, the DDoS attack might end.
I don't know where he is. We have to wait for him to try and come to us.
Well, obviously he's on a computer somewhere.
He's got our targets.
He's on a computer somewhere doing the DDoS attack.
No, he's not. The mosquito's not doing the DDoS attack. See, don't refresh. Okay, there you go.
Shit.
The people who are still in, we're still in, and you can see the feed there. So if you are in, and we do know that. That's been confirmed. However, there is a DDoS attack. But it's fine. Should be back up momentarily. But continue, Andrew. Where were you?
So as you're just finding yourselves as men, I understand I have a huge responsibility because of the massive platform I have. There's no doubt about it. I am the largest influencer in this space. I'm perhaps one of, if not the largest influencer on the planet today. And I have a massive responsibility to try my best to improve the world and teach people important things. And it's very difficult, as most of you men are just finding yourselves, trying to figure out what and who you should be in a culture with little to no proper guidance. If you remove me from the internet, you have a whole bunch of loudmouths who have not achieved anything amazing or remarkable in their real lives.
Who don't act in a respectful way.
Who have not had any real world achievements. There's a few people I can name who aren't like that, but we're generalizing. And then you have a largely matriarchal society and a matriarchal education system that you're beholden to. So who's teaching you to be a man? If you're fortunate enough to have a fantastic father, great. But if you don't, there are very little lessons, and there's basically no guidance out there explaining to you the self-accountability which is required to be a man. Everything we were just saying to you earlier about making the choice of being invisible or being highly important and paying the rent for one of those two choices, that's based around absolute and utter brutal self-accountability. You must accept the decision you want to make, and you must accept that everything is your fault. Everything is on your shoulders, regardless of what God throws at you. Give you an example. Me and you were in jail. Did we still have bills to pay? Did we still have mouths to feed?
Absolutely we
did. We still have a business to run? We're locked in a Romanian jail cell with no access to the outside world, and we still had responsibilities, and we were still absolutely and utterly accountable for those. We didn't sit and say, well, I'm in jail, so they don't matter.
Let them take care of it.
No, they do matter. We're men, and they must be handled, and we found a way to handle it regardless. Even though we believe we shouldn't have been in jail, even though it was unfair, even though it was a matrix attack, we still took absolute and utter self-accountability for the situation and all of our problems. We never skipped a beat. We never missed a single payment. We never let anyone starve. We handled absolutely everything from a jail cell. And you have to sit here and understand, most of you are in absolute freedom, not meeting your responsibilities. How are you going to meet your responsibilities if you become important enough to be locked in a jail? How are you going to meet your responsibilities when you're heartbroken? How are you going to meet your responsibilities if you lose all your money?
And we're not talking just about our immediate family in a selfish way. I'm talking about my employees. I have over 300 plus employees, security guards who rely on their salary that they get from our company to feed their families, and that's their job. It's not their fault I was locked in jail. I'm the man who hired them. I have a responsibility to make sure everyone's salaries are paid, to make sure everyone's family is fine. There's a massive triangle, a massive pyramid built underneath men like us, of people who need to eat, and people who do us a service, and people who need their money in exchange. I couldn't just say, you know what, I'm in jail. They'll understand. What would I expect these people to do? You know, this is their job. They work for me, and it's my responsibility to make sure everyone's getting their paycheck, even if I'm locked away, which is scary because how would you accomplish the same thing? Imagine you have 3 months. You have 45 minutes on the phone 3 times a week. That's all you get for 3 months. Would you be able to make sure that everybody you care about and everybody who depends on you and all the people who depend on you from a business perspective, all the people who work with you, work for you, are fed, provided for, getting their salary, getting their paycheck? Could you do that? If not, keep working.
Absolutely.
Because we pulled it off.
Absolutely.
Just about, my friend.
We got it done. And we're preparing ourselves for anything else that might happen in the future to make sure we can always get it done. There's a lot of naivety and misunderstanding as to what manhood entails, and as a consequence, womenhood as well. I see a lot of people on the internet complaining about women and talking about all the problems with women. The two genders work in parallel. We're designed to work as a perfect unison. Femininity, and true masculinity go hand in hand, and they work perfectly when both genders understand their roles and fall into them completely. It's crazy. I see so many red pill guys, so many guys on the internet, so many men constantly complaining about women, not understanding that if one of the genders is broken, if one side of the yin is broken, the yang is going to break by extension. It's impossible to complain about women and the way women act if men are not acting the way they should act, because we're designed to work together. And I think as men, we have most control over ourselves, absolute self-accountability. So the best way we can fix the world, the best way we can change or fix women is to fix ourselves look at ourselves and be the best kind of men we can be. When you see a man who is constantly complaining about women, that's a reflection of him. If every woman he meets disrespects him, he will say women are disrespectful. I would argue he is not worthy of respect, because I'll tell you something that a lot of people don't want to hear. I don't meet bad women. When I'm around women, they treat me with absolute respect. They're extremely feminine. They're extremely soft. They're extremely kind. They let me lead. They let me take control. They let me do what I need to do as a man because they look at me and they respect me. And a woman is a reflection of her man. If I was less of a man, the same woman might treat me in a disrespectful way. But that is down to me, who I am. So when I see these men constantly complaining about women and the way women act and women in society, I understand what they're trying to do, but what they don't understand is if they took self-accountability, if the men all took self-accountability and truly became men of honor and capability and bravery worthy of respect, the women would reflect that. The women you interact with will reflect that. I can't meet a bad woman. When's the last time you or I met a woman who talked to us rudely in front of other people, or refused to make us a coffee if we asked, or disrespected us, ever?
It's about, you can run through the world being a nobody and being lacking in so many different things and try to say that women need to hold themselves to a higher standard, or you think you need to hold the women to higher standards. What you need to do is you need to hold yourself to a higher standard, because that is a universal unspoken language that people see in themselves. From my girlfriend to my friends to my brothers to every relation I have, every single person who knows me knows I hold myself to an extremely high standard. So what are they going to do? Talk to me like shit?
Absolutely. And women are a fantastic mirror.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Women are a mirror to men. That's what's so important people to understand. Women are a mirror. If you're running into a bunch of rude, ungrateful women, that's God telling you that you need to be a better man. I guarantee some of the women who have treated you terribly, who have disrespected you and wouldn't obey you and wouldn't listen to you and didn't want to be nice to you and didn't want to be soft or feminine or kind or gentle with you, would treat me and my brother like gods. The same woman, because of who we are. So it's very hypocritical, and it's extremely naive, and it's extremely asinine to sit and complain endlessly about womanhood without understanding that it's actually manhood that leads. And genuine men who genuinely stand up and have absolute capability will never encounter negative or bad, disloyal woman. We don't have women. No woman cheats on us. No woman goes behind our back. No woman sells us out. No, nothing. Because of who we are as men. So once you build yourself, womanhood is fixed by default within your world. The women you're going to meet in your world and your reality are going to act perfectly for you because you're worth it and you deserve it. If you're walking up saying, oh, women don't act right, I hate women, women do this, women are sluts, that's because you are not the man you need to become. If you become the right man, I guarantee you that's absolutely not true, because the women out there who are genuinely low body count, beautiful, soft, kind, feminine, looking for a proper relationship with a man, want to get married, want to have children, they have so much choice. Why would they choose you when they can choose one of us?
And also, they deserve a good man. See, people say that we look at women in a derogatory way, but that's completely not true at all. I believe the women who you're talking about, the good women out in the world, deserve a good man. I think the women in the world deserve to be treated nicely, spoiled, sit in on interesting conversations, go to nice places, have the door held open for them, have the car door held open for them. They deserve to be sent flowers. They deserve to be treated exceptionally well. So if you're a bum and you are incapable of doing that because you haven't worked on yourself, don't think, oh, why aren't these women looking at me? These women have something wrong with them. They genuinely deserve good men, and there are good men out there. So if you can't run into those women, yeah, it's absolutely 100% your fault.
You can only fix yourself. As men, I assume most of you watching this are men, we can only fix masculinity and manhood. And by extension, because the genders work in absolute parallel, if manhood and masculinity is fixed, femininity and the feminine world will be fixed by extension and automatically. You see it. When you see a real G with his woman, you see how perfectly they work together naturally. And that's because the man is the right kind of man, not because the woman is the right kind of woman. So I think it's very asinine, pestilator, my friend. I think it's extremely asinine when I see people constantly complaining about females on these streams and complaining about how women act and what women do. When I look at their characteristics and their qualities as a man, even I know they're not shit. So you think a woman doesn't know? A woman has evolved to intrinsically understand the man she is with is responsible for her safety, and she must trust him with her life. If she knows you're nothing but bravado and a big mouth, if she knows all you do is talk and you haven't truly lived it and you've never put your life on the line, why would she respect you deep in her heart? Women are not stupid. They have intuition, and they can look into your eyes, and they can look into your soul, and they can see if you are the man you pretend to be.
And this is the same with this also translates to men and male friends and male relationships, which are just as important in a man's life than female relationships. Let me tell you a story that I don't think we even planned to tell you. We're sitting here in this house. I have 10 men in this house.
Yeah.
From guys who cook, guys who clean, probably 15 actually. Guys who cook, ladies who clean. I have my security guards, my cameramen, my friends. Andrew misplaced a piece of jewelry, let's say.
Piece of jewelry.
And that piece of jewelry cost $300,000, and Andrew misplaced it. So with this misplaced piece of jewelry, we spent 9 days searching everywhere in the house for it. Not once did it cross our minds. Not once did it cross our minds that somebody had taken that. Why? Because I know I command respect from the people around me, and I know that they get respect from me in return. I wasn't 1% worried, didn't think in the back of my mind that anything had gone wrong, and you did eventually find it. It was inside a boxing glove somewhere. I don't know, God knows how it got there. But yeah, it also translates to the male world. If you're talking about your friends, you need to really look in the mirror. If you're saying, "Oh, my friends steal from me, my friends try on with my girl, $20 went missing from my wallet when I was asleep when my friends were over," that's a reflection on you, not the people you hang around with. Because I guarantee, even some of those same men who are snaking you, if they were privileged enough to be in my circle of friends, wouldn't dream of snaking me.
Absolutely and utterly true. Absolutely and utterly true. So we're going to start, when we're talking about high value men, and we're talking about how important all this is. I hope you're all catching notes. We're going to start with charisma, because what I notice a lot of people, especially online people or people I meet in general life, they lack charisma. They lack that magic. They may scream at a screen, and they may be clowns. Being a clown and having charisma are very different things. I can sit very calmly and talk for 6 hours and get 100 million views in a very calm way. And that is done via charisma. My charisma is the reason most of you are watching me here today. My charisma is a superpower which has allowed me to live the best possible human experience. And I will teach you all how to have charisma exactly like me. Charisma, which is magnetic and magical to females, which makes men respect you, and which makes any interaction, especially in business or anything regarding money, far easier and more obtainable. So we're going to talk about charisma overall. Charisma is basically likability. The ability to make people feel good, to care, to be in your presence, to want to be around you, and to want to engage in conversation with you. I don't know if many people understand that I must answer 0.1% of the messages I get per day.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to talk to me.
Hey,
everyone. Men.
Hey, Tristan, I just need some advice.
Men, women.
I couldn't possibly reply to these.
Thousands of messages a day on every single app, thousands of emails, hundreds of letters per day. Everybody wants to engage with me because I am ultimately and utterly important, of course. I'm respected, yes, but I'm also brutally charismatic. And everybody wants to have a piece of my time. That allows me to sit and analyze and pick and choose which people I believe are beneficial for me to speak to, which people I know are also very high value men and deserve my time. I have choices. And when you have choices, you're always going to optimize your social circle over time by reducing the chaff and spending more time speaking to people who can also provide you value. So charisma is extremely important. How you have charisma firstly are some basics. One of the most basic things is honor. You must do what's right because it is your duty and for that alone. Not because you benefit from it, not because you gain from it, because it is your duty. Tristan and I do many things to our detriment, like talk on the internet. We don't need money. We don't need to help you. We don't need to save your life to our detriment, but we believe it's our duty to educate people because we understand we have a massive platform and a lot of young boys are looking up to us and there's a lot we can teach.
And also your word is your duty. I have said I'm not going to quit. I have said I'm going to keep talking. If I say something, I do it. So your word immediately becomes your duty. Never break your word and never go back on what you said.
Absolutely. Honoring your word is part of honor as a whole. That's the whole point of honoring your word. You have to know how to be reliable, dependable, and loyal. And most importantly, you can never stab anybody in the back. You can never be a snake because, one, I swear if you betray somebody and you're a snake, it's like a stench which follows you for the rest of your human years. Anybody who does business with me, and I've done business for 20, 30, 40 million dollars, will do it on a handshake. They don't care about the contract because Andrew Tate shook their hand, and they can smell on me that I am not the kind of man who's going to snake them over money, because I've never done it. If I've ever snaked anyone over money, I would have some degree, my aura would change color and people would see it on me. You can't be a snake. You cannot stab people in the back. You can't do these things, especially in the masculine realm, because we have evolved to detect treachery. Please understand, the most disgusting thing in the masculine world is a traitor. We talk about it all the time because treachery cannot be protected against. It's from the people you trust, which means it's always going to be a critical hit. It's always going to be extremely dangerous to you. So if you don't have the ability to detect snakes, you're going to end up in trouble in life. And I think men have evolved to be able to detect snakes. So when you do snakish things, something follows you and people see it.
It's why that guy's career is over. That guy who tried to snake us and do that hit piece on us, the DNG. His career is now effectively over. Oh,
Mr. DNG.
Yeah. Oh, the DNG.
Don't forget, guys, if you go to topg.com, you can buy a DNG t-shirt. You can give it to any DNGs in your life. And every time you buy one, the original DNG, Matt Shea, the original DNG, gets an email to let him know that a DNG t-shirt has been purchased to his personal email address.
So his career is over, not because he attacked you, because he's attacked many people in his past. I think his career is completely over now because everyone saw the disingenuous, snaky way he went about things. Yeah. And we called it. We predicted it. We sat him right here on the emergency meeting couch beforehand. And I said, you are a snake and you are going to snake us and you have no honor. And he said, no, I'll be fair. That's why his career is over, because everyone saw that. Not because he made a hit piece. Lots of people have made hit pieces or tried to make hit pieces. No one gives a shit. But he sat here to our faces and he lied. He said, I'm going to do a nice, honest, fair piece of journalism on what you guys are doing in terms of the test, the event with the war room. And then he had some imaginary people in there telling imaginary stories about imaginary crimes that never fucking ever took place.
Completely.
I was like, well, he lied to their faces. That's why he's done. That's why he's finished. That's why he can't tweet anything ever on his Twitter without 5,000 people saying, where's the chocolates, DNG?
Because he's a DNG.
Yeah, his career is done. It's over. I don't know how he's ever going to recover from that.
He can't. Snakery, dishonesty, and treachery is always going to be despised and disgusting to men, and also by extension women.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. The reason Harry and Meghan argue all the time, the reason Meghan hates Harry, and you could sit them down in front of 1,000 therapists and they'll never be told the truth, but Andrew Tate, the top striker, #1 most compendious, intelligent person on the planet, knows the truth, because I understand human interaction absolutely and utterly. And I'll tell you why Meghan can't stand Harry. Because Harry sold his family out for money, and Meghan told him to do it, and he still did it. And although she instructed him to, she is still disgusted by seeing a man commit treachery, high treason on the royal family. A woman will sit there and go, I told you to betray your family and you listened, but now you're a snake. How can I trust and love a snake?
How can you want to build a family with that man?
How can you want to spend the rest of your life with a snake, with a traitor? Never. So by complying, by giving her what she thought she wanted and what he thought she wanted, he destroyed his own self-image in her eyes, and she will never respect him. Humans hate treachery. And that's why it's so important. If you want to be charismatic, like I said earlier, you need to have honor, doing what's right because it's your duty. You need to honor your word. You need to be reliable, dependable, and loyal, and never stab anybody in the back, because no matter how smart you do it, no matter how much money you make for doing it, no matter how smart you are thinking you never get caught, it's like a stench that will follow you. And I guarantee if any of you come up to me on the street, you see me on the street and say, hey, Top G, can I get a picture, etc. If you've ever sold your soul or betrayed your brother or betrayed a man you knew for some pussy, or talked to your best friend's girl, or tried to fuck your friend's ex, or any of this dumb shit, I will smell it on you. I will instantly be able to tell you are a worm, because I have those levels of detection, and so do most humans. Do not betray people. It is never worth it in the end. Another way.
Well, treachery carried the most harsh sentences in every single culture all around the world.
Let's talk about that.
And because like you said, you said this about male leadership. These cultures, the Ming Dynasty and the Aztecs, didn't meet each other. The Greeks, the Persians, the Samoans, the headhunters of Papua New Guinea. You could not be a traitor in any society ever without death. You have to kill the traitors. You must get rid of them. You must expel them completely from the world. Got him.
You got the Matrix agent.
Got him. Too fast. But yeah, the sentence for treachery was death. Nice. Always. In almost every single society. There's no way you could open the gates to the enemy. You could send messages to the enemy. You could give away your position as a military man.
If you're a traitor, look at the movie 300. Why do they lose? That traitor. No one respects traitors. And like you said, you made a fantastic point. In every single civilization since the dawn of time, the most heinous and disgusting torture methods and punishments were always for traitors.
Yeah, so all you could do,
high treason.
All you could do today is to expel them absolutely and utterly from your life. You cannot expel them from the world anymore because we live in a civilized society, but you need to have absolutely zero interaction with anyone who's ever betrayed you, even for a little bit. If someone steals $100 from you once, it doesn't matter.
The least attractive female to me on the planet is the ex of my friend. I don't care how gorgeous she was.
And my friends have gorgeous girlfriends.
And I don't care how beautiful she is. And I don't care how nice she is. And I don't care how badly she wants me. You've been with one of my friends or somebody I know. I can't explain how unattractive you are to me because my soul,
you're dead to me.
You're dead to me. My soul is not worth selling for some sex. I refuse to do. I will not be a coward or a traitor just to get my dick wet. That's not who I am. And the fact that so many out here even contemplate that is disgusting. And also another thing that's very important. If you're hanging around with snakes, you're probably a snake yourself. Yeah. Because if you weren't a snake yourself, you'd have high value friends. And the reason you can't have high value friends is because they can smell you're a snake. So you end up having to hang around with snakes. If you become a better man and you stop putting anything above your honor, above your creed, above your respect to your ancestors and to your last name, you're going to have friends that do the exact same thing. I'll tell you something now. Me and my boys, the war room, Tristan, my friends, I could leave my girlfriend in a prison cell with them for 20 years. Nothing will happen. I would bet my life on it. Because I bet my life on it. Because that's how we operate. We operate honor first. And most of you men don't have that out there. And then you wonder why women look at you and think you're a little bitch. And then you sit there and complain about women as a whole and say women are disrespectful. Well, I'll be honest with you. Most of you deserve absolute disrespect. If you were a better man, if you were the man you were supposed to be, they wouldn't be disrespecting you. You built yourself into a fucking coward. You're hanging around with a bunch of snakes. You are a snake. And you wonder why women don't want to have anything to do with you. You deserve it.
Let me give you a hypothetical situation. The hypothetical situation is this. You're in a police interrogation room while your friends are in a cell. They've been questioned by the police before you. They've been interrogated before you. And the police say something stupid. Andrew, I'm not sure if you could relate to this. Like, oh, well, your brother's already told us about your crimes. Now, obviously, there's no crime, so it's a very easy thing to dismiss. But that, if a policeman ever looks me in the eyes and says, oh, you better tell me something because your brother's already talking, I'll just be like, really?
You're going to have to try harder than that.
harder than that.
You're going to have to try much harder than that.
So much harder than that. You have a 0% chance. Yeah, Andrew's making up crimes I committed and telling you. Yeah, sure. Or even if I did commit a crime, let's say there was a bank robbery and they took me in and they said, well, you better tell us about the bank robbery because your brother's already told us it's you. I'd be like, sure. Sure. 0% chance that would be true. And look at your friends. Do you have that same 100% confidence? It's not even confidence. It is certainty that if I had robbed a bank and Andrew knew, and the police told me that Andrew told them that I robbed it, I know with 100% certainty that that's not true because you need certainty in those situations because it's life or death.
Absolutely, it's life or death, and you need certainty, and a lot of certainty comes from one, testing your circle, and God will give you those chances to test your circle, but also being certain within yourself, because if you're truly certain within yourself, you don't have the ability to detect whether other people are certainly about it unless you are certainly about it. Takes one to know one. Real recognizes real. When you're truly a G, you can spot if somebody is truly a G. If you're faking it, you're going to fall for people who fake it, and that's why it's so important. Another thing I want to say is that real men are not brutes. We are not cavemen. This idea, I see a lot of people online talking like cavemen, talking like brutes, and what they're trying to do is they're masking any kindness they have, and they're afraid to be soft. They think they have to talk like a rude caveman to people because they don't have any genuine bravery, and what they're trying to do is make up for bravery. If you are a brave man, and men know you are brave, and you've done brave things, and women know you are brave, and they know that if you're afraid, you will act anyway and do the right thing you're supposed to do to honor your ancestors and honor your bloodline. If they know that even if you are afraid, you will still make the brave choice and live with honor, then you don't have to be a caveman to women. You can be the nicest man on earth. You and I are extremely polite, extremely kind, and nobody thinks we're a bitch.
To everybody.
To everybody, especially to females. We're extremely nice and extremely kind, and nobody thinks we're punks and nobody thinks we're a bitch because they know that we are brave. If you've done genuinely brave things, you then get to go through the world and be an extremely nice person and nobody will take you for granted. You're sitting at home saying nice guy finishes last. If you're nice to people, they take you for granted because you've never done anything brave.
Yeah.
If you act,
you have to earn
bravely,
the position to be nice without being disrespected.
Absolutely.
If all you have is being nice, if all you have is sucking up, then yes, you absolutely look like a bitch. But when people know that you are capable of much greater things than just being nice, when people know you are capable of being cruel and capricious and mean and violent, and then you're nice to everybody, that's a whole different thing.
Absolutely. And then your niceness is respected, because if you're nice because you have no choice but to be nice, then it's not a choice. That's your default mode because you have no other capabilities. If you do genuinely brave things and you live a genuinely honorable, brave life, you get to be nice to everybody and they are nice to you back. And all of a sudden you seem to have very nice relationships and a very nice reality. We are very nice to every female we ever speak to, and they are all nice to us. I thought women were broken. If I meet a woman in Miami, I meet a woman in Mauritius, I meet a woman anywhere on the planet, you can
South
name
Korea.
it. Doesn't matter. They're all nice to me, and I am nice to them. If women are so broken, how come every female I ever interact with is exceptionally nice?
You are broken.
You are broken as men. Women are not broken. You are broken. And women are waking up, looking around at the men around them saying, why should I treat any of these men with respect? They're all cowards. They're all liars. The ones who want to come across as high value are nothing more than big mouths. They're sitting there running their mouth with no genuine capability, insulting people, belittling people, being rude, and they think that makes them high value. What have they done that genuinely makes them brave? What honor do they display? How do they make their ancestors proud of them? How do they show God they are the best possible versions of themselves? They don't do any of those things, and they're sitting here telling me that women are broken and I should be submissive to him. Why would I be submissive to an idiot like that? It's not women. It's completely and utterly your fault. Lots of men think they need to belittle women to assert their manhood. And that's not the truth. You never need to belittle a woman to assert your manhood. If I meet a woman, a brand new woman, and I end up in love with her, she's going to get flowers. She's going to fly on private jets. She's going to be in 5-star hotels. She's going to be driving around in a Bugatti. She's going to be living the best possible life. I'm not going to belittle her. I'm not going to insult her. I'm not going to call her names. I'm not going to try to make her feel bad about herself.
But you know who will? People on the internet.
People on the internet, because they know deep down they're insecure and they have no real world achievements. I don't have to do those things. I can be the nicest man in the world. And if she doesn't treat me with the respect I deserve, then of course, all of those things will end. But she will be naturally inclined to treat me with the respect I deserve because she knows that I am nice by choice, that I'm an extremely brave and capable man, and she feels genuine respect for me in her heart. And it's that genuine feeling which can't be replicated.
So I want you to write this down if you're fans of mine, because if you follow me on Twitter, I assume you're a fan of mine until you do something very, very stupid. I'll post a opinion, controversial or not, and people will start replying underneath, and girls will reply. Some of the girls are OnlyFans models, some of the girls are Playboy models, some of the girls are models in general, some of the girls are just kind of e-girls with big Instagrams, etc. And people who, I guess, pretend to be fans of mine or pretend to listen to what I say because they follow me on Twitter, attack these women. Oh, fuck you, prostitute. You know, we see your ass on Instagram. You're worthless. You're classless. You're this. Look, you can hold your opinions on people as much as you like. I'm not going to tell you what opinion to have. But what I am going to tell you is that if you are a fan of mine and you find yourself attacking people you don't know on the internet, then don't even follow me. Honestly, don't. Unfollow me immediately. I don't care if I lose 1 million followers because you're not a fan of mine. Be polite to everybody and don't judge people, especially people you don't know.
Absolutely not really true. A lot of people I see are also talking like women are the enemy. Women are not your enemy.
They're the best thing about life.
They're the best thing about life.
They can give you children.
There's nothing better than having a woman who is truly in love with you, who truly cares about you. When you're sick, you don't want your boys, you want a woman.
Yes.
There's nothing better than waking up with a woman who would do anything for you. There's nothing better than walking around the house and catching a woman just staring at you just because you're built like fucking Hercules. Trust me, I'll tell you. There's nothing better about it. Women are not your enemy. The idea of never having a woman who adores you and never having children raised in a household with a woman who is feminine and a man who is masculine is your enemy.
Yeah.
You should be afraid of never having a future of a wife who truly loves you and never having children who truly respect you and never being capable enough to know that you have security within your relationship. And that is your enemy,
and that's
not
terrifying.
women.
That's terrifying, and it can happen to you no matter who you are. If you're stupid enough to think that all you need is, for example, money. All you need is money. And if I have money, I'm going to have a wife who loves me and respects me. I'm going to have happy children. No, you're going to find a girl who uses you, who uses your bank balance, who cheats on you behind your back, who leaves you for another man. Money isn't enough. Strength and fitness isn't enough. Intelligence isn't enough. Wit, charm isn't enough. You need to at least be trying trying in every sphere to better yourself in every way. You can't just lean on one pillar. That's not going to hold a roof up.
Completely. We talk about the fact that 60% of men are sexless incels. And people go, oh, it's so hard for men today. And I agree it's hard. And my answer has always been, you need to become a top tier male, because if you're not a top tier male, you can no longer compete in the hyper competitive world.
Why should they want you?
Why should they want you? The reason you're a sexless incel is because you're not a nice person. You're rude, you're abrasive, you have no real world skills, and you feel inferior, so you try and project that onto women, and you know that a woman wants a man she sees as above her, but you don't have anything that makes you above her, so the only way you can feel better about yourself is to belittle her, to lower her status, so that you can feel above her, and that will work temporarily, but it will never work on a long enough time frame. If you don't upgrade your character and become a man of genuine capability, the only choice you have to make a woman feel submissive to you is to belittle her as a person. How long can that possibly last? How real can that be? Especially if she's beautiful and all these other men out here are telling her how valuable she is. Sooner or later, she's going to leave for a man who respects her value, and she's going to get rid of you. And then you're going to wonder why you're sitting there heartbroken. All these men who are sexless incels deserve it. Yep. You completely and utterly deserve it, because as a man, you get to build your character. You're born with no value, and you get to decide who you want to be. And you could have been the most important man in the world. You could have trained hard and been strong and worked hard and been rich. You could have been charismatic. You could have had honor. You could have done the right things. You decided not to do those things. You decided to sit on the internet and bitch and complain about women all day. And you wonder why you don't get any.
Or even worse, make an account dedicated to hating on people who women do like us. There are accounts dedicated to me saying I'm going to jail, trying to prove a case that doesn't exist. Accounts dedicated to me with cartoonish pictures of me as their profile pictures, just hating on me all day long and jumping on any woman who tweets on me to insult her for engaging with me.
That's not going to improve your life.
That's not going to improve your life at all. If you really hate me that much, if you're listening and you really hate me that much, and you and you think you're going to run an account that's going to criticize me and attack me in every way, and I'm somehow going to get mad about it, I'm not mad. I feel sorry for you. If you truly hate me, the best thing you could do is ignore me.
Completely.
It really is, because you're giving me power.
You can't drag women down below you. And another thing you certainly can't do, which is going to fail even more monumentally than trying to drag women down, is dragging men above you down. You can't drag men like us down.
But the men above you don't give a fuck.
We don't give a fuck. And you know who else doesn't give a fuck? Women. We have just gone through the largest matrix attack in human history, being accused of human trafficking, which is a heinous and disgusting crime committed against women. And all we get are thousands of love letters each week from women. So you can't sit and try and convince the world we're bad people when women will always want us. They won't want you. Real recognizes real. They know the strength of our heart. They know the truth of our convictions. They understand we have options and choices. We have absolutely no reason to hurt a woman because we're not desperate. It is the fat, loser, lonely incel that rapes a woman because he has no choice. We have all the choice in the world. Why would we hurt a woman when we have unlimited choices of women who genuinely want to spend time with us? So when you sit as a man and you're trying to belittle women, that's asinine. But even more pathetic and less likely to succeed is trying to drag the alphas, the truly important men, down so that you feel as a higher status, because women won't buy it. They don't buy it. They're very smart. They have intuition. They know you're the punk because you're obsessed with the more important man.
And you know what? When I meet smart, intelligent, successful, cultured men, I've never met one who dislikes me. When Tucker Carlson was here, screw the interview. We sat around for 4 or 5 hours afterwards just smoking cigars. The other day I was with, I'm not going to say his name, but the husband of Candace Owens. I sat there with 3 hours with him. And he's a very, very smart, well-to-do, intelligent, sharp, worldly man. And me and him had a great conversation and shook hands like best friends by the end of it. Every man worthy of respect respects other men at the top.
Oh yeah, real recognizes real.
Yeah, 100% of the time. So I don't care what somebody on the internet really has to say about me, and it doesn't bother me, and it doesn't drag me down. All you're doing is waving a big red flag in the air saying, look at me, I am a loser. And that's why you're all anonymous, by the way.
The men who make videos hating on me, and I don't watch any of them because I have a very busy life. I don't watch any of them. But if you're a full-grown man and you're making a video trying to disparage me, the truth is, I'd kick the shit out of you. You know I'm richer than you. You know I'm smarter than you. Everybody knows it. Every woman knows it. You know it. And that's why you feel inferior, which is why you make videos about me and I don't make videos about you. Which is why I don't give a shit about what you say and I don't even watch your videos. I don't care. Whereas you're obsessed with constantly trying to drag me down because you know you are my inferior.
Well, I said this when I was in jail. I got out of jail and someone sent me some clips of some big fat dork. I'm not even going to say his name, laughing at the fact we were in jail. And I was like, I'm not in jail. He's in jail. And the girl who sent it to me goes, what do you mean he's in jail? I said, look at him. Look at him. He's 120 pounds overweight. He has a woman who hates him. He's much poorer than me. He's sitting there online every day, glued to his podcast to make super chats to pay his bills. He's more in jail than I will ever be.
Correct.
I'm standing in my cell, muscular, fit, strong. My mind is free. My mind is open.
Thousands of women writing to us in jail telling us they love us. Thousands of women sending us letters to jail saying they love us.
So keep in mind, you are, a lot of the people who hate on me, you are more in prison than I have ever been. I'd rather be me in a prison cell than you in your life, because your life is more of a prison than me being in prison. Some idiots will tweet to me, oh yeah, well, you're on house arrest. I can go outside and do whatever I want. Whatever you want. You got no money, you got a shit car, you live in a crappy town, no one likes you and no one wants to talk to you. What are you gonna do? Take a walk around the neighborhood? What? Oh, and I'm locked in my 9-bedroom mansion with my pool and my friends and my chefs and my butlers, you know, with access to the internet, with hundreds of thousands of people listening to me when I speak. Oh, you can go outside and do whatever you want. You can't do whatever you want. When I'm free from house arrest, I can do whatever I want. I can go on a private jet and go to Timbuktu if I want. I can do whatever I want. You don't know what it's like to be able to do whatever you want.
And if me standing around in my house, walking from place to place, and I have a woman who would genuinely ride or die, do anything to be with me, and I catch her staring at me in absolute adoration, like you see a starving man stare at a meal. When I catch a woman who is completely in love with me and she is beautiful in a way that most men would die to even speak to, that is true masculine essence.
You would dream. These losers would dream to be in this house with our bank balances and our influence and our bodies and our minds and the knowledge that we know, with the women who we have, with the friends who we have. They would dream in their wildest imaginations. They can't even fathom what that would be like. So don't tell me I'm under arrest. You're under arrest. You put yourself under arrest, and you are in a self-imposed prison with self-imposed handcuffs on you at all times. I am always free.
Absolutely. And it's the amazing thing about it is, as a man, any of you can become this high value. You're not born this way. We weren't born this way. We were just braver than you. We worked harder than you. That's why all these people who make these hating accounts, there's obviously different levels. You got complete losers and you got middle losers, and the middle losers are the most arrogant. So go, I'm not a loser. Compared to me, you are, my friend. You are a loser. Sorry. The world knows it. I know it. You know it, which is why you're making videos in the first place. And you could have been better if you were a little bit braver, but you were a coward and you decided to focus on your YouTube channel while we focused on taking genuine brave endeavors and became men of importance and men of capability long before we appeared on the internet, which is why we own the internet, which is why we're the most important brothers on the planet. So as a man, you can go out there and become the kind of man which eludes natural charisma.
5 years of hard work.
5 years of hard work. That's all it takes for a lifetime. For a lifetime of respect from your peers, for a lifetime of living true in your heart and true to God because you know you're acting with honor, for a lifetime of love letters from women. I can't imagine for a second being lonely. You could take away any female I've ever interacted with in my life. It would take me less than 3 seconds to find a new one. All I have to do is open the love letter and reply to one of them. They all have phone numbers and pictures and kisses on them. All I have to do is send a text. It would take me 3 seconds. It's unbelievable how desperate women are for genuine masculinity in the world. You can't say women are broken. If they were broken, they wouldn't want men like us. The fact that they are desperate for men like us shows that the men are broken. It is the men's fault.
And I actually love hearing from my fans. Look, Tristan, my relationship with my girlfriend has vastly improved. You know, she wasn't that interested in me. I thought I was going to lose her. I thought we were going to break up. You know, when I hear from women saying, look, my sons are doing so much better in life, you know, it's a virus that we are spreading. The virus of masculinity, the virus of traditional mindset and traditional masculinity that we're spreading, that everyone's scared of, because I hear it all the time from women and men about how their relationships have improved and about how they are living closer to their true imperatives as human beings just from listening to very basic stuff that we say. And it's amazing how many lives we change, and that's why I'm never going to quit, and that's why I'm never going to give up on anybody. They're going to have to shoot me if they want to shut me up.
So you need to stop hating on us and stop hating on women, and truthfully, your time is better spent investing in social savvy, diplomacy, utilizing your opportunities online and in person to speak to women, to build your communication skills. Everyone's seen that meme where the high value guy says, hey, you look beautiful, and she's like, thanks, and the dork says, hey, you look beautiful, and it's a HR issue. Everybody's seen that, right? Because it's about the person who says it. That's what life is all about. It's not always about what you say, it's about who says it.
You know, when I was young and when I was a bit younger and single and I still had Instagram, people would ask me, hey, Tristan, what's your Instagram opener? If you see a beautiful girl and you message her, everyone's done it. You know, I was in my 20s once. What's your opener? And I said, it's hi. And they were like, oh, but what do you mean? I wrote this funny line saying, hey, if you were on a date with me, how many marshmallows could you? It's some stupid line. I was just like, mine's hi. Mine's hi. And they replied to me.
Of course.
And they meet me.
Men like us can just say hello. Hello. Oh, hi. Done. Because it's not
my
about
opener. Hi.
It's not about what you say. It's about who you are. I want to clarify something I said before. I said men are superior to women. And it's not completely wrong, but it does lack very important nuance.
Yes. It's taken out of context a lot.
Because it depends on the individual, and this needs to be clarified. A superior man is superior to all men and women. A superior woman is superior over all average men and other women. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the top tier of life is a superior man. But you're not just superior to women, you're superior to everybody. You have more capability than everybody. There's not a man you can put me in a room with who I don't consider myself more capable than in basically every realm. Every metric you can measure, humanity has the science to possibly detect I am superior. I'm not arrogant. I'm just talking about lived experience. As I say a superior man, I'm not saying men are superior to women that are not by default. If you're a normal dude and you think you're superior to women, you're going to be very mistaken, and that's why you're lonely. A superior man is superior to most of his peers. He's superior to most all men he meets. And a woman, I've had women say to me, you know the number one thing I get women say to me? They say, you know what I love about being with you? I don't have to think. Things just happen. I'm just on a jet. I'm just in a 5-star. I'm just in a Bugatti. We're just going to a beautiful place. How did you find this hidden lake? Why are there roses? Life just happens. I don't have to think. She gives me absolute trust. She sees me as her superior in some regards. She's my superior in other regards. Women are better at different things than men. But when I say men are superior to women, I'm not talking about the fact that just because you're born with a dick, you're superior to females. That's absolutely and utterly not true. That's not true. You have to earn that right.
But top tier men have always been the most respected and the most beautiful thing about a lot of societies. You look at the classical masters who used to sculpt, Michelangelo, etc., the Greek sculptors, the marbles of ancient Greece. Who did they sculpt? Warriors. Big, strong men with muscles and swords and shields, the people who defend society. It's a really, really beautiful thing. And that's why all my friends are exactly the same way. Everyone who I meet and I get along with is exactly the same way. And yeah, so advice for the haters, find something better to do. Work on yourself, because I'm fine. Don't worry, I don't need another hate account. It just boosts my ego more, and I'm actually okay. I'm doing all right, which brings me to a super chat, actually. Robert asks, how important is ego?
Ego is extremely important. It's either a superpower or it's your detriment. If you have an ego that you work hard to justify, then it is a superpower. If you're egotistical and say, I deserve the best possible version of humanity and I want people to respect me, so I'm going to live a life and do things that make it impossible to disrespect me. I'm going to get in the cage and I'm going to win all my fights, and I'm going to work hard and drive the best car, and I have a nice big apartment, and I'm going to have important friends that allow me to do very important things, and I'm going to live a life of freedom because I believe I deserve that. That is a healthy ego which can help any man on earth. If you have an ego without those justifications, an ego you don't want to justify or have never justified, and believe you're just special just because you have YouTube followers or you have a big mouth.
That's toxic masculinity.
Absolutely.
That's truly toxic.
When I see these men and they have a few million followers on YouTube and they think they're something, but really, truthfully, if you walk past them on the street, they ain't shit. They're toxically masculine. They have egos for very little reason but a number on a screen. They haven't done anything that's truly impressive or less. They haven't done anything that's truly impressive. They haven't been out there and genuinely shown bravery. They can't sit in a room with me and impress me in nearly any way. When push comes to shove, would fail against other men basically permanently. That is toxic masculinity. So an ego that you work hard to justify is a superpower. An ego which is unjustified is going to hold you back. So you have to be very careful.
Ego.
You have to earn it. You have to wake up and say, you know what? I am the man. I'm going to show everyone. And then how do you show everybody you're the man? You make the brave choice. What did I say earlier about bravery? How it radiates on you, how it can be seen in your eyes. That is how you have an ego which is helpful to your life. And that's how you have an ego which actually genuinely exudes confidence as opposed to exuding insecurity. Next thing I want to talk about, we talk about something you said earlier was very important. And I've said this in many different podcasts, that men need to build themselves in every aspect to get women. When I talk about every aspect, everyone understands money and finance and being strong. And we talked about charisma, that's important. You also need to be likable. I don't know if many people have noticed that a lot of the people who are attacking women and insulting women and arguing with women, especially on the internet, aren't particularly likable.
At all.
When I sit with women on Watch My Pearl podcast or Watch My Fresh and Fits, I say important things, but the women love me. They're laughing, they're joking, they're touching my arm. They all want to hang around with me. Afterwards, they're asking me to go party. They all ask for my phone number. I say the same things in a likable way. You also need to work on being likable. And that doesn't mean being a bitch, doesn't mean being a cuck. It means doing the things we were saying earlier about exuding honor and bravery, etc. But being likable is a superpower. You need to work on yourself in all realms. Yes, your physical capability. Yes, your financial resource. Yes, your network. Yes, you need to have stories. You need to be charismatic, but you need to be likable as a person. I don't see many people on the internet right now who are men teaching men how to be men who are actually likable. I see a bunch of bitches complaining.
Want to be tough guys.
Want to be tough guys. Big mouth without reason. Whole bunch of dudes just fucking complaining all day about women, screaming at a microphone, acting like clowns, acting like children. They're not likable people. You need to be likable in the real world outside of the internet, and that is extremely important. Another thing people say is that women are emotional and men are logical, and this is true. I'm an exceptionally logical person, but you need to get through to people. You reach people through emotionality. When I talk, people feel motivated. The number of times people have said, if I listen to your podcast, I end up doing push-ups.
Another one. I didn't get him.
Agents.
I just actually sprayed our producer in the face with fly spray, but
spray him again.
That'll make you insect.
Spray him again.
Don't worry. If insects now bite you, they'll die immediately, so you'll be fine.
Fuck you. Anyway, you need to be likable. So let me start my point again.
We spray it with fly spray and say you need to be likable. he's a very good friend of ours. It's fine.
He's fly-proof.
Yeah.
We talk about you need to prioritize logic over emotions. Yes, as a man, you must be a logical person, and women are traditionally emotionally led. But you need to be able to inspire emotions in people. People say to me all the time, if I listen to one of your podcasts, I end up feeling motivated, my blood's on fire, and I want to do push-ups. No matter what I talk about, right now we're talking about masculinity. In our next podcast, we might talk about conspiracy theories. It doesn't matter what I talk about, but the way I deliver evokes an emotional response. If I can evoke an emotional response in men, imagine how I can evoke an emotional response in a female. Because she's an emotional creature. You think I can't make a woman feel excited? You can't think I make her want to come and see me or want to spend time with me? That's very important. Yes, you must be ultimately logical, but humans are all emotional, male and female, and you cannot exclude the emotional side of your delivery and the emotional side of your capability and your humanity. And this is the reason a lot of men
interacting with people in general, you can never ever disregard the emotional side of it.
And this is why a lot of men act like cavemen and destroy their kindness, because they're scared to show emotionality because they're insecure and they're weak. But if you lose that emotional edge, if you lose the edge of the ability to be emotional or make people feel emotions, then you're always going to be a two-dimensional character. And that's very important. You can't do it. You lack emotionality if you're all about logic, and that means you lack genuine depth as a person. You need some depth as a person, so don't be afraid of your emotions, but control them, use them in the right way, learn how to make them benefit you, learn how to turn the right emotion on at the right time, choose the one you need for the current situation. Me and you can jump around and be happy and have fun and party, and we can also be extremely serious, and we can decide in real time. Emotions are extremely important. I don't like that a lot of men are out here saying, don't feel emotions. No, feel emotions, be stoic, control them, but master them. But you're a human. And as a human, you need to have some degree of emotionality about you, and women will respect you if you have a range of emotions that they can detect, that they know are used in the right way, at the right capability that you can control, that allow you to be the most competitive version of yourself. Don't forget about emotionality as a whole.